It's day 244 and it's time to meet another one of my friends. So without further ado, please welcome to the screen, comedian, cabaret artist and virologist. Yes, it's
Me.
Ria Lina.
Hello.
I don't know what a virologist is, Ria.
Virologist studies and works with viruses.
Oh my God, of
Yeah.
course it is. How can I not know that right now?
So that was my backup plan. I did a PhD before I went into performing to assuage my mother that I would have a backup plan. And I went, why would I need a backup plan? Comedy will live forever. You know, cabaret will always be a thing. And then boom, what happens? Pandemic. And she went, finally, your backup plan.
Is she over the moon?
Other than the fact that she can't see me, hug me, come near me, you know.
You win some, you lose some.
Right? Hopefully not my mother though. You know.
No, I hope not.
I know. No,
So
I know what have.
Has this pandemic affected you as a virologist specifically? Are you fighting the good fight? Are you finding a cure for us? What are you doing right now talking to me?
I'll be honest, I'm not doing as much as I should be doing as a virologist. I think I'm doing a lot of punditry. So one of the interesting things is that if you work in science and you work in a particular field, you don't stray outside your farmyard. That's not the term.
Okay.
Let's go with farmyard. Yeah, that's where we work.
We work in
now. That's the whole problem, isn't it? We're just too close to nature.
Don't stray outside.
You don't
your
stray
farmyard.
outside your farmyard. So one of the advantages I have of being a freelancer is that I can do things like go on Sky News and talk about what's happening without worrying that my bosses will call me up and go, what are you doing? You can't say that. Because I've got no research that because I interviewed someone from PHE, from Public Health England, and he had to be very careful about what he could say, of course.
Yeah,
you know.
Of course, right. So listen, I've got 3 questions for you. Are you ready for your first?
I am. Hit me.
Ria Lina, what is your recollection of our first meeting?
Okay. Now, we spoke about this before, and I bet that mine is earlier than yours. Let's see. Back when I first started comedy and I was roaming the open mic circuits, I heard about a little, actually, because I was a musical comedian. I would do stand-up, but I also had my ukulele. I'd do songs. And someone told me about a variety show, variety show open mic thing on a boat in a place, Battersea. And they said, you should come along to this. There's this, open mic thing. And so I went down, I think, to Vauxhall, and then I had to walk along the river, and there was like a post office or some kind of packaging thing. And I thought, I'm going to get raped and killed.
Yes.
I don't know, where am I going? And then down this dry alleyway, just concrete. Then suddenly there's this barge, and inside the barge is a cabaret heaven.
Can I just interrupt to say, anyone that's ever been to the Battersea Barge via Vauxhall Tube is going, yes. But Where is this place?
I was in my early 20s, so I looked about 6, walking along at 7 o'clock, and the sun's setting over the Thames, and I just thought, I've seen a Law and Order that looks a lot like this episode. Seen a Law and Order episode. But anyway,
there's a man with a piece of chalk ready to just mark it out on the floor.
I know, but because it was near the barge, he was fabulously dressed. And he had all the colors. Which color would you prefer for your outline, madam?
Any chalk you like.
Yeah, right? I was like, well, if I can sniff it, it'll do. And so I go into the barge, and suddenly there's this wonderful, just multi-patterned, multi-fabricked interior of a barge, and this fabulous show. I mean, well, for me it was fabulous because I was on the open mic circuit. So even though this was open mic cabaret, it was still way better than anything that I was doing at the time. And you were hosting. It was your show. And I was so intimidated, I walked out and never replied.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never did it. And you know what? And it took me another sort of 7 years, I think, 6-7 years before someone in cabaret said, hey, if you put on a nice dress, you could do cabaret. And I didn't do cabaret until I was already a professional comic.
Oh my God, oh my God. So you're one of those people. because I did the show you're talking about is called Cheese and Crackers, and lots of my guests on this have talked about it.
Yes.
And I did it for 11 years. I produced it for 11 years, and sometimes I did host it. And I just, can't remember everybody, but I have met a lot of people through it. So my recollection of my first meeting with you is different to yours.
Yes.
Because I don't think did I actually say hello?
To be fair to you,
to
be fair to you, we might not have actually connected directly. I just was aware of you from that point on.
Well, yeah.
So you were up there, and I was just this little person down here.
Well, I remember meeting you at Café de Pury doing Showtime Cabaret. I think that would be my official first one. Yeah. Well, we love Café.
And actually, Café de Pury was the first stage I stepped on as a cabaret artiste, because there was a stand-up comedy section in Wham Bam, which was the Saturday show before. That was my first. And people like Ninia Benjamin would do it, and she would go out there in like jeans and a sweatshirt, but they would accept Ninia Benjamin in whatever she wore because she's wonderful, and she'd walk out there and she would just tear up the room and this, that, and the other. It was never the same 2 nights in a row. And so I went, oh, well, I was looking at everyone else sequined and feathered, and I thought, I think I have a dress that I went to a ball at university that I could wear, and I started with just what to me was a nice dress. And then over the years, I was like, wait a minute, this is tax deductible shopping.
Yeah, it is.
This is claimable.
Oh, yeah.
And now I have the most ridiculously large cabaret wardrobe and wigs and sequins. And this is one piece, actually, I just bought this the other day because I couldn't resist it.
This is all making so much sense now, because every time we were in the dressing room backstage at Cafe with the other people from booked by Yellow Entertainment, hello Yellow, you would always ask me or whoever was there, what do you think? I've just bought this. What do you think? Is this looking okay? And I'm like, why is this woman so obsessed with what she looks like? She always looks great whenever I see her. But this is all starting to make sense.
Yeah, no, I was completely new to it. And also, one of the things I had to learn was how to be in a cabaret. A cabaret has given me so much body confidence, because in comedy, it's an all-male green room and people are snorting and farting and doing all sorts of things. And, and you don't dress up in comedy, especially when I first started. If I put on makeup or even had jewelry on, it made my life so much harder to win the audience over, because they just saw a pretty little girl and they're like, oh, and she's carrying a ukulele. And I'm like, oh, this going to be painful, she's going to say hunt and then it's not going to rhyme in the second line, And so when I came into
You'd never do such a disgusting thing, would you?
No, of course not. I am Asian.
You say it.
Efficient rhymes. Thank you very much. Maybe that's more the German in me. But so going into a cabaret dressing room, I was just buying blind. I was, I'd find something randomly and pick it up and go, oh, I think I can wear that. And I so I learned. So I was a professional performer, but I was a complete cabaret novice when it came to, learning how to do my makeup. I never wore makeup on stage. I was and I have some pictures of me with some awful face jobs. Awful, absolutely awful.
Your second question, Ria, is how are you keeping creative at this time?
Yeah, that is such a great question. I'll be honest. I took the holiday in the first month. Because I think that we all deserved it. As performers, we run around everywhere. I now have a podcast that I had been meaning to start, and this was a perfect time to start it. And that's called Ria Lina's Behind. And that actually it's not a cabaret. Is it? Can you have a cabaret podcast? It's actually
I have one, so yes.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it's a news commentary podcast. So I know it's not creative, but for me, I'm really enjoying being able to explore. I interview one guest every episode and we talk in depth about the history behind the headlines so that we can contextualize what's going on. So actually, I'm just editing an episode now, so look out for it, all about the history of race relations in America to contextualize Black Lives Matter, because it's obviously something that's been going on for approximately 250 years, and since America began, and that's what so I'm loving that, and that's kind of been my focus.
Wow, that's awesome. What a great answer. Your third question, Ria, is what are you looking forward to doing that you can't do at the moment?
Okay, and I'll be honest, I'm probably one of the few people that loves lockdown. I love wearing the same clothes for 10 days in a row. I love not having to shower, and it doesn't matter because my family have to love me and my BO. And but I do miss the freedom. My family's scattered about. My sister lives in New York. My parents live in the Netherlands, and I can't travel or see either of them without it's a huge moral battle as to whether I make that risk, especially for my parents, to be able to go see them. So that's what I want. My mom needs hugs.
Yeah, right.
My dad's social as anything. He makes his appointment every week to go to his favorite bar. He's fine, but my mom stays at home gardening. She needs some hugs.
Well, I'm giving you a really big virtual hug from Crystal Palace right now. And guys, we're running out of time, so don't forget to press the subscribe button for more like this. Now, sadly, Ria won't be with me tomorrow, but I will see you all tomorrow.
If we're saved!
Ria Lina, you're amazing, and you're a virologist. Thanks very much, darling. Lots of love. Take care.